Here's your April 2020 energy update. Look for more breakdown in our current reality, but here's what you can do. Hi, I'm Saratoga Ocean, and in this video, I want to help you get prepared for what is ahead in the month of April 2020. And if you're new to my channel, make sure to subscribe so that you can join our growing community of lightworkers and spiritual seekers. Now, I had a little bit of difficulty figuring out how to present this information to you because I think the month of April is going to be very challenging. And as an aside, I'm actually getting suspicious that we may have actually shifted to a completely different timeline, but more about that later on, maybe in another video. Now, here's the thing, you guys, we are being challenged in ways that we have never before experienced, and certainly not on a global scale. So I want to talk to you today about how to find your strength and rise to the challenge. This situation is so massive that we must enlarge our perspective in order to feel grounded and be able to process all that is going on. Now, if we are to look at things so far in this amazing year of 2020, in January and February, this whole virus thing was just beginning to unfold in different parts of the world. But I think collectively, we still didn't fully realize the magnitude of how this whole situation was going to develop. And March is when things really started to blow up. March is when we went through the shock of literally having almost our entire planet completely shut down overnight. So March was really about holding on in the storm. March was about holding on to hope and holding on to our old belief systems. But I think April is going to be very, very different, because in April, it's really going to start to sink in more and more about the situation that we actually find ourselves in. Therefore, let's dive right in and expand our consciousness right now. That way we can get a true handle on our situation and feel empowered at a cosmic level. So what's going to happen in April is it's probably going to start to sink in on a collective basis to the fact that we are all in this lockdown situation, and that's going to start to have some real psychological impacts, which is going to affect the collective energy around the world. So I want you guys to be prepared for that potential so that you can be sure to live in a transcendent way and have the most positive experience that you can possibly have. Now, one of the first things I want you to think about is please do not buy into the media's hype that this is all about politics. All that's going to do is make things worse. It's going to cause more stress, more division. It's completely unnecessary. And this has nothing to do with politics. It's a virus, for heaven's sake. Because the media is always looking for yet another excuse to create more anger, more division, and more fear. And that's the last thing we need right now, right? And actually, it kind of looks to me like the political world is falling apart, just like everything else. So we as light workers and people undergoing a spiritual awakening, we need to move way beyond these kinds of things. So let's begin by taking a cosmic perspective on our planetary situation. Now, doesn't that right away feel so much better? It's like the moment you take on a cosmic perspective, it feels like a burden is instantly lifted off your shoulders. You see, you guys, what we are going through right now is a part of our ascension. And in order to understand this, you have to start by looking at where we have been, because where we've been is no longer serving us. So there are two parts to where we've been. The first part is what I will refer to as the collective overlords in our situation. This is represented by the full spectrum of politics, religion, society, science, education, corporations, and all of the accompanying institutions. These are the things that have kept humanity under control at every level. And the second part of where we've been is comprised of the collective of humanity itself. This has been essentially a slave system that all parties, including us, have agreed to. And now that entire system is collapsing. Now, why do I call it a slave system? Because when you are told how to think on every single level, then you have no freedom whatsoever. There are very strict rules on this planet about how you are supposed to think. Now, I have some news for you guys. The rest of the universe does not subscribe to these rules. But that's okay. The powers that be have a way to deal with that. We are told that there's just nothing else out there. We are told that there's only us. I mean, religions, education, and science and otherwise perpetrate this myth. I mean, guys, think about this. We are expected to believe that our tiny planet, which is literally no bigger than a speck of microscopic dust in the spectrum of the entire universe, we are expected to believe that this tiny little speck of dust sets the rules for the entire cosmos. You see how simple that is? It's like we are told, hey people, you have to believe us because there's nothing else out there. And then, like the good slaves that we are, we dutifully obey. And we ridicule anyone else who doesn't obey these thought rules. I mean, we punish them with social rejection because we are programmed to do so by what I call the overlords. No one is allowed to think outside the box. And we are well educated to know exactly what that box is. So now we find ourselves in a dire situation. And we look around and we wonder, why is no one coming to save us? And unfortunately, what we mostly get are New Age platitudes and religious excuses about God watching over us all. Okay, so let's give ourselves a big dose of reality right now. Ask yourself this question. How much have you defended the way things are on this planet, even if you don't like it? Now, maybe you'll say, no, Saratoga, I would never defend this stuff. Well, I will tell you guys this much. There are millions and millions of people who will defend this stuff with their very lives. People who believe that what you are told in school is all you need to know. People who are so desperate to get their child in some school or college or whatever it is they want that they will do literally anything to make that happen, as though poverty and death are the only alternatives. And then there are people who believe that whatever a religion tells you is all you need to know about the fundamentals of life. And on a social level, people look around and they say, hey, whatever everyone else is doing is all I need to know. Like buying loads of toilet paper, right? So now we see this entire reality failing us. We see it all falling apart. And I think that April is the month when this is all going to begin to really sink in. So you guys should be prepared that the collective energy may not hold together very well. And I want to encourage you to get prepared for that right now. Now, the best way to get prepared is to completely reframe our situation in a totally different way. And this means letting go of your old identity as it relates to the old system of human slavery. Now, here's the thing. You can pray all you want for someone to save us, but what are you really asking for? If you are asking for help to restore everything back to the way that it was, it's probably not going to happen, because we are in an ascension process and we are going to the next level. Now, I know this might be hard to believe right now, but I truly feel that when all of this is said and done, this situation is going to be seen as a blessing. And here's why I say that. Because if we were to continue on the very path that we were on before, we were actually headed into a very dangerous situation. We were actually marching dutifully, like the good slaves that we are, right into the jaws of an AI presence in this universe that has every intention of taking over our very souls. AI refers, of course, to artificial intelligence. Now, you don't have to believe me about that. In fact, I would prefer that you don't believe me. I would much prefer that you think for yourself and reason this out in your own way. Just watch and wait. Listen and pay attention to yourself and your inner guidance. I mean, we have been on this path of succumbing to an AI God for a very long time, and that has accelerated dramatically in recent years. And I tell you guys that the consequences of succumbing to an AI God are far more serious than battling a virus. Because if we succumb to that, we are talking about a terrible path on a soul level that could last billions and billions of years. And that's just based on an earthly depiction of time. It's actually way more than that. So this virus might actually represent a rescue from our stubbornness, because we have stubbornly clung to our old beliefs and to these dangerous systems, having faith in those systems and never taking the necessary time to look within and evolve as the cosmic beings that we are. And unless we evolve and evolve rapidly, there is no way that we will be able to comprehend the bigger picture of what is happening to us. So as the month of April unfolds, think about this. If it seems like everything is really falling apart, consider the possibility that despite our holding on to our formerly dangerous reality, that we are actually being saved. We are being forced to go within and awaken to who we really are as cosmic beings, because there's nowhere else to turn. And that's what your spiritual awakening is all about. Your spiritual awakening is a gift from the universe. Now, there are going to be people who don't want to wake up. But you see, choosing to cling to one's false identity is not going to help, because the world that supported that false identity is falling away. So if you want to be empowered in the situation that lies ahead, you need to take your awakening very, very seriously. You need to support yourself in your spiritual awakening. Now, you can start by supporting your physical body to be as healthy as possible. But don't identify with your body. Realize that your body is your sacred vehicle that makes it possible for you to be on this planet. But it's not who you are. And also, don't judge yourself, because we don't have time for that anymore. Now, as we sit in our homes wondering when this will ever end, we are going to find ourselves being exposed to a transmutational fire. We will be forced to face ourselves and all that we have made important in our lives that perhaps now is meaningless because the world that supported it is no more. So we're not going to be able to hide from ourselves anymore. So this is a time, my friends, for some very deep inner work. You know, it used to be that you could just sit back and coast through life, letting the old reality support all your beliefs. Then you could just wait around to die and have your life's review when it was all over. Well, we're going to get that life's review now before we die. And this is when we really need it. We can't afford to wait around for death to save us. I know that sounds ironic, but that is how religions have told us to live. You know, all the good stuff supposedly happens after you die. I mean, we can't afford to think like that anymore, you guys. Not when we are in this massive ascension process. So now is the time that we need to wake up at a level that we never dreamed possible. And we need to wake up while we're still alive. I mean, this idea that we're going to wake up when we die, that's just not going to work anymore, you guys. So for the month of April, instead of freaking out and reacting to all that is going on, realize that perhaps the universe is preparing to show us something that we really need to know. But in order to see that, you guys, we need to evolve. We need to wake up to our cosmic existence on a very conscious level. And I'm going to continue to help you do that as we go forward on this journey together. So for now, make sure you stay well, be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and stay grounded in your heart and in love. Stay focused on that radiant light at the center of your being, because that is the essence of who you really are. That is the you that can never be harmed and can never be touched by any of the goings on this planet. So in that infinite space within you, you are always safe and you are always secure. Now, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it out with your friends. And be sure to hit that subscribe button and that notification bell, because I'm going to be here for you guys 3 times a week, every single week. I'm sending you so much love and a comforting hug. You really will be okay. Take care, you guys. Have a peaceful day. Namaste.